Good day, everyone. Welcome to the 20th episode of Cooking with Chef Aaron. And wow, it's already been 20 episodes. Hard to believe. Time flies by pretty fast, doesn't it? It's actually been 1 year since I released the first episode on Mauritania. And here we are today. And today we're going to explore the country of Malta. And this country was requested to me at the same time by two people. I would like to give a big shout to Mari and Antoine Zammit. As always, thank you for the request, and I hope to receive more requests from other people sometime soon. Okay, so before I begin my review of Malta, I just want to say that not very many people know about this country, so I thought I'd state some basic facts about it. So Malta is said to be the fifth smallest country in Europe, after Vatican City, Monaco, San Marino, and Liechtenstein. Okay? This is a really small country. It's one of Europe's smallest countries, and it's actually the 10th smallest country in the world, in between Maldives and Grenada. Okay, so I'm going to start this review off by talking about the largest city in Malta, which is called Birkirkara. And this city looks very nice. There's a lot of Italian influence, as you can see, but the only difference being is that it's not really quite as colorful. You don't see very many colors here, and it still has a nice, elegant design, but in Italy it's all sort of like white and red and green. It's all very colorful like that. But Malta, it's just sort of standard old buildings. Nothing too fascinating, but it's still a pretty nice looking city. So now I'm going to talk about the city of Cormi, which is the second largest city in Malta. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. And much like before, this city is mostly white, not very colorful, much like Birkirkara. The only difference with this city is that it's a more colorless version of Afghanistan. So you can see here, there's a lot of sort of like Asian influenced architecture this time, and I don't think this city is really as good as Kabul, which is Afghanistan's capital city, but it's still a pretty good city. I like its elegant designs, even though it's kind of bland in terms of its colors. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about Mostar, which is the third largest city in the country. And this city has a building that highly resembles the Parthenon in Greece. The only difference being that it has more of a beige color, and once again it's not as colorful. I find that Malta looks a lot like Greece in terms of its cities. The only difference being is that it's not really as colorful. And Greece is on my list of top 50 countries, but Malta isn't quite there. Malta almost makes my list, but not quite. And as you can see here, you can see some buildings that kind of look like what you would see in Syria. The only difference being is that they're more beige and they're not as colorful as what you would see in that country. And I still think this is a pretty good city as well, though not too great, just good. Okay, so the last city in Malta I will talk about is the capital city, which is called Valletta. And the city looks very similar to Vatican City, the only difference once again being that it's more beige in color, and it doesn't really stand out as much in terms of its colors because it's sort of more bland. Don't get me wrong, it's still a good city. I still think it's a pretty good city, like all the other cities in the same way. But there's not really much else to say about it because it's just very bland in colors, but it's very elegant in design. Alright, so I'm going to wrap up my review of Malta by talking about the vegetation. And as you can see here, it looks very similar to what you would find in California in the United States. Because you can see that it's very deserty. There's a lot of like cactus vegetation, and as you can see some bodies of water in front of like some deserty scenery, and they look very similar to what you would find in like other U.S. states like Arizona or New Mexico or something like that. I don't think the vegetation is really that bad. It looks very similar to what you would see in the summer states, which are my favorite states in the U.S. if you remember what I said about them in episode 17. Okay, so overall, I would say that I would probably have to give the country of Malta a B. Okay, so now with that all said and done, let's head down to my kitchen, and I'll show you how to make the widow's soup. Follow me, please. Okay, so in order to make the widow's soup, the ingredients you will need are as follows. We have over here 1 tablespoon of butter along with 1 tablespoon of olive oil. We have 1 onion that has been diced. We have 4 garlic cloves. We have some chopped parsley. We have 2 potatoes that have been peeled and chopped, as well as 2 carrots that have been peeled and chopped. And we have some broccoli that has been chopped up. And we have some celery stalks that have been sliced. And we have 1 cup of fava beans, 1 cup of peas, and we have 1 cauliflower that's been chopped. And we have 1.5 tablespoons of tomato paste. We have some chicken broth. We have some pepper, and we have some ricotta cheese. Okay, so we're going to start by putting in the butter and the oil together. And we're going to saute this along with the onions, as well as the garlic. And we have some nice parsley. We're just going to mix this for a while and then we'll move on to the next step. So after you've cooked this mixture for a couple of minutes, what you want to do now is you want to take the rest of your vegetables and add them to the mixture. So here's my celery. Here are my potatoes. Here's my broccoli. Here are my carrots. Here's my cauliflower. Here are my peas. Make sure they all get in there. And I have my fava beans. And here's my tomato paste. Make sure that all gets in there. Okay, and I will also add my chicken broth, the whole thing in. Enough to cover the soup, so it makes a nice soup. And I will just add a little bit of pepper for seasoning. Okay, and I'm just going to stir this all around. And we're just going to let this be brought to a boil, and afterwards we'll cover it for 10 to 20 minutes and let it simmer. So once your soup has been boiled, covered, and simmered for 20 minutes, what you want to do now is you want to take some salt, and you just want to season it a little bit, so it's a nice even coat. And just want to stir around, so I'm just seasoning it to taste. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take our ricotta cheese, and we're just going to kind of drop it in like this. And after we add all the cheese in, we're just going to let it cook for a couple of minutes, and afterwards it'll be ready to serve. Okay, let's see what I think of this. This is very good. The vegetables are very nice and soft. You can also taste the cheese very well. It tastes really, really good. And here's our finished product served on our plate, garnished with a nice parsley. Thank you for watching.